Business Week just came out with an article about the secret ingredients to success, and they talk about grit. And I want to talk about grit because that's like one of the things that I feel super aligned to when I think about my life over the last 18 years. And so in the article, they did a study with Harvard, MIT that says that grit peaks around 70 years old, and it starts to decline after 35. And recently, actually breaking past 35, like I realized that kind of could be true. Like there was a new level of grit that I needed to reactivate in my life, especially now that I'm becoming a dad. And so let's just define grit for a second. They say it's a combination of both perseverance and determination. And so, I think that that's true. I would add passion as well, and I would add resilience as well to that. I mean, when I think about my life, it has taken a lot of grit. I do think about my success taking a level of that determination, that perseverance, that resilience, and that passion to succeed in my life. I feel like there's this essence of like being against all odds. When I think about how I activated grit, it was because like I really felt that way growing up. There were school teachers that told me I wouldn't amount to much, and just the education system kind of sets you up to fail and makes you feel like you're not smart enough or good enough a lot of times. And in school, I wasn't the greatest student. It wasn't set up to support me in the way that I like to learn. And so I was bored in a lot of classes. I didn't feel like I was set up to win as a visual learner. And ultimately, I thought that that's it. I wasn't gonna make it unless I took life into my own hands. And so that's when I dropped out of college. At one point, I was selling weed and having to get past like selling drugs, being a part of a gang, and just like, okay, how do I not go to jail but take that hustle mentality and bring it into business? And there was definitely this essence of grit throughout my career of persevering, because as we all know with entrepreneurship, like it's going to knock you down. Like you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes. Like if you're not making mistakes, you're not moving forward. You gotta like really build a strong relationship with failure, because at the end of the day, you're not really ever failing unless you give up, right? And grit is about not giving up. Grit is about finishing what you start. So many of us, we don't finish what we start. We have all these distractions, all these projects, but when things aren't going the way that it was planned, right, all of a sudden we quit. And so when I think about grit, it's about not quitting. It's about you have something inside of you, right? And especially for those of you that are over 35, you may have lost some passion. How can you reignite passion? Find what are you truly passionate about? What do you see bringing to the world? What's a problem that you want to solve? How do you want to help people? How do you want to help humanity? How do you want to help the planet, right? And just getting so passionate about bringing your gift to the world, living your legacy, and then not quitting. And it's gonna be hard. There's days, even for me, I don't wanna be shooting content. There's days where I don't wanna be running an event. There's days that I still have fear, like, am I good enough? Or I doubt myself, or like, I'm like, I don't wanna do this, but I don't wanna go to the gym. But guess what? I get up and I push myself. I'm one foot in front of the other. And whenever I leave that gym, or whenever I finish this piece of content, I'm inspired. I'm fueled. And in order for me to keep going, I realize that it's bigger than me. And so you got to realize it's bigger than you, right? You have a God-given gift. You have a mission that God has just for you, and it's bigger than you. It's your family. Like, think about what you've gone through. When I think about grit, I think about everything I've had to go through, but not even just what I've had to go through, what my mom has had to go through. Seeing my mom work 6 days a week, seeing my mom having knee pain, back pain, seeing my mom and what she had to go through to work at a supermarket to put food on the table, seeing what my dad had to go through. Think about my grandparents and everything that they went through, and the poverty and the scarcity, and having to leave their home and leave their country to come to America to provide an opportunity for their great grandkids, and the vision they had for me to be where I'm at and for you to be where you're at. Think about what your ancestors have done to position you, what they've had to go through, and you got to tap in to that sacrifice and realize that it's bigger than you, that it's bigger than just what your personal goal says. It's like there's people that are relying on you. You have a big responsibility. You have a God-given responsibility to play a big game. So you got to find that passion. You got to find that grit. You got to go out there and persevere through the hardships and never quit and keep going, and know that like through that pain, like on the other side of that fear, is so much growth, is everything you can ever your heart desire, is more love, immeasurably more abundance, immeasurably more wealth, health, prosperity, impact, influence, fulfillment, happiness, love. Like, all of that is available to you, but you gotta have that grit. And whenever you feel yourself slacking a little bit, thinking about quitting everything, remember this video. Remember that you gotta dig back down and dig deep and realize, like, you have a huge mission on this planet. And every single day that God renews your contract, that is such a blessing. And you gotta remind yourself of that blessing, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So every day you get an opportunity to get 1% better, to have a little bit grit and go after that dream of yours and to live your legacy. And that's powerful, because the worst thing, my man Chaz Palminteri says, like, the worst thing in life is wasted talent. And you don't want to die being on your deathbed with those dreams, and die to know that you didn't give your all to being the best version of you. And not just for you, but for God, for helping humanity, for your family, for your lineage, being a new ancestor. And so I do believe grit is part of one of the greatest ingredients that you can have to generate success. And yes, I'm all about grace and love and ease. Those are some words of mine for 2022. And like, I realize it's time to continue to activate that grit, because that grit is the thing that I realize is like makes me unstoppable, unfuckable. You know, and so at the end of the day, what does grit mean to you? Comment below. Like this video, subscribe, let me know. I'm gonna be doing more of these, and yeah, hope you activate some more grit from this video. Let's go.